welcome back to Entertainment Weekly's coverage from Comic-Con. I'm Jessica Shaw, here with the creator cast of the Orville. The show I am most excited for, September 10th at 8 on Fox, is the premiere. Welcome to Comic-Con. Is this so exciting to be here?
Yes.
Yes. So basically the premise of the show, it's set several hundred years in the future. It's the USS Orville. Seth, you created the show and you play the captain. The captain who I wrote down is you're nobody's first choice.
Right.
That was one of them. We were lucky enough to see just
On
like
the
a couple
show.
on the show. Yeah,
Right.
everyone's first
Yes.
choice here. On the show, nobody's first
Yes,
choice.
yes, which I'm sure you'll find a way to work into some negative review of my work like you always do, but that's okay. Entertainment Weekly. That's fine. That's fine. We love you. That's why we're here. This is a show that's kind of been percolating in my head for a long time, and I've always been a fan of the genre, and the mix of sci-fi and comedy is something that kind of I think has the time has come for people. The audience is there. I think it was the success of things like Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool. People are kind of ready to embrace this kind of Goldilocks zone of those two genres.
Yes, even when I first saw it, I thought Galaxy Quest, which is just one of my favorite movies, and I love that. And
Honey, it's much better than that.
Oh, of course. I thought
Okay.
Galaxy Quest, and then I thought MacFarlane's going to improve on that.
Oh,
That was where I went. Well, tell us what we're going to see, because there's only been like a little bit of a teaser, and I'm very intrigued by it because it's an hour-long show. And I was kind of, at first I thought, this is going to be a 30-minute show. So I'm guessing there is maybe more of an exploration of relationships and stuff like that. So.
It is, yeah. One of the things we look, if we were a half-hour show, you could get away with joke, and just you could be a sitcom. With an hour, there's an obligation to, and not just an obligation, it is a pleasure actually to be able to kind of expand on character relationships, to tell some stories that have a real arc, that really have stakes, that go somewhere, and that's what we've set out to do. We've really set out to draw people in that way beyond the humor every week. And we are an episodic show, which in this day and age is oddly rare, where it's like each week it's its own story. It's the same characters every week, but it has a beginning, middle, and end, and you can watch episode 2 and episode 5 back to back, and it's not like you're going to have missed some key thread that you need to enjoy it.
What did you all think when you read the script before you took these roles?
Brilliant.
Loved it.
I love it.
Oh my
That was
God.
one of the best scripts I've read in a long time.
Really?
And completely original. It's not been done.
And Adrian, you play the captain's ex-wife, who's the first officer, and tension.
His better half.
His better half. Ex-better half.
Ex-better half.
Everybody's first choice. Everyone's first choice.
Exactly.
I love you.
Tell us about that relationship.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's still love between these two people, and she did something horrible ultimately, and they split, and now.
Wait, what did she do?
Well,
We
you're
didn't
gonna
see
have
that
to
in the
wait
3-minute
and
teaser.
find out. Okay. But now she's back, and he has to deal with it in like the most amazing situation of his life. He has kind of this dark thing come over him. But that's part of the relationship I think Seth was talking about. It's the heart that draws you through all of these storylines. It's like, yes, it could be, a procedural, but it's not. It's, you really care about these characters and you want to see, will they or won't they? I mean, there's a little bit of a Ross Rachel thing happening here. So it's like, and between all of the characters, there's so many different relationships.
All the characters, there's a Ross Rachel thing going on?
Absolutely. Really don't know what's going to happen. Some crazy things happen on the ship, so.
I'm a little obsessed with the blob, the kind of gelatinous floor blob. Voiced by Norm Macdonald.
Yes.
I kind of need to hear more. How did you come up with that? Was the network like, yeah, that's totally normal. Let's have a gelatinous floor blob that talks.
It's a sci-fi show, and budgetary constraints always kind of mandate that sci-fi characters be humanoid, which if you talk to astrophysicists and whatnot, they'll tell you, like, look, most likely nothing will look anything like a human if we ever find life in space. It'll look completely different. So it's nice to kind of populate this world with, where we can, with things that are utterly non-human. And I'm not sure that we've figured out a way to do a CGI character on a weekly basis in a way that fits within a TV budget. We're working on it. But Norm is Norm Macdonald to me has always been one of the funniest guys alive. And I couldn't really see anyone else doing that.
So what's that phone call like? Are you like, hey Norm? I went like full banana. Like, hey Norm. Yeah. It's 1986, and I'm like, hey Norm, do you want to play Blob?
Yeah. Then he said, sure. That was pretty much, it was like a 10-second phone call.
And that was it. I love it. Deal maker. That's awesome. Jon Favreau directed your pilot. Tell us about that. Yeah.
What a dream.
I was a big fan of him just in general. So when I found out he was doing a pilot, it was just icing on the cake for the project, and to be able to work with everybody here and this guy who I've known for a long time. Yeah, I had to fight between, just doing the job and also just being a fan, because everybody up here is like, oh, everybody's amazing, and I actually, outside of what I do, like what you do. So it's, it's a perk of coming to work.
He really is an actor's director too. I mean, he gets, his work. I mean, the other day, like right before we started shooting, happenstantially, like Swingers was on, and I was like, oh man. And then you see him, and like, this is the same guy in this body of work for all these years. But he gets up in there, and he's so kind, he's so gentle, and so generous, and he's attentive and listens, and you just really want to do well. You really want to do well for him, with him, and it's a process, and you feel like very collaborative, and he just really knows what he's doing too, and he's so easy, and funny. And he DJ'd our rap party.
He did.
Is he a good DJ?
He's a great DJ. He's like,
Very
don't bother him. He's like, don't talk to me. Like, because
And by the way, we'll make a grilled cheese on the.
Wait. So Jon Favreau's like directing.
Everything.
He's catering.
Yes.
He's DJing.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
And you have like Jonathan Frakes, right? And Brandon Braga directing too. Like, I love that you've got like a theme going on there.
Sure.
Got a lot of Johns.
Yeah, well, look, those people are all from an era of sci-fi where it was a little more aspirational, it was a little more positive, it was a little more fun. I think we're kind of, I am Hunger Games out. I think if I see one more dystopian movie about how bad the future is going to be, I'm just going to kill myself. Like, it's just like enough, and I miss that stuff, and those people all come from that world where that was just what they did. They just found ways to create
It's a comfortable future.
Yeah.
Like, you want to live in the future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we take place 400 years ahead of our time, you still deal with all these problems that humanity has, like relationships or
Social issues.
social issues.
And cultural clashing, like people.
Right.
How do you coexist with a species that has a completely different value and belief system than you? And what's the right and what's the middle ground? So we're all, these are all things that, which is great, because every episode, there's always these real problems that we have to deal with, and there's humor that's laden in there. But I think that's what makes it, gives it gravitas and weight, is that there's some actual things that don't work out so well, like not happy endings and things like that. So I like that we don't.
There are aliens, but it's still very real.
We do like in reality.
But it's also, I think it's an interesting. It's an interesting needle to thread, being really funny, and also, like you said, just having, or like Adrian, you said, like addressing social issues and stuff, which, I imagine there's a lot going on in our present day planet Earth right now that I'm guessing this is a commentary on, yes.
But the challenge of sci-fi is to actually come up with original ideas. So every week, these scripts come up with original ideas, which are fun, it's a whole new adventure, That's a huge challenge, which Seth and the team have made easy.
Each episode's like a mini movie.
Yeah, and it's also there's a casualization of sci-fi to me that no one ever does. That whenever I see it, it just sucks me right in. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, you should be able to do a show with if your characters are set up right. You should be able to do a show that takes place in one room with just 2 or 3 of your characters on the ship, and no space battles, no action, no nothing, and you should be able to sustain it just based on their relationships. And that to me is when sci-fi does it right. And that's what we're trying to do.
Tell me about Charlize Theron being on, that news came out and people were like, going crazy. Is she?
No, you guys leaked it.
My byline wasn't on it.
You tell me what happened.
Wow. I think they should watch it.
You got that one, Scoop. Get the rest of it.
Oh, are there
I'm
more
kidding,
guest
I'm
stars?
kidding. No. It's I can't tell you anything. I can tell you that she's in the show. She's fantastic as always.
Was that another one of those like hey, in 10 seconds I'll be on it?
Well, I had I had worked with her on the Western that I
Yeah.
did, and had one of the best experiences of my life, and call and ask her to do the show, and Charlize is awesome. She's the best, and she astonishingly said yes, and yes, I'll come do your little TV show. And she was great. She was fantastic. I can't tell you anything about who she plays. It's all surprise.
Oh,
but
you've
she
told
was
us
just-
plenty.
Oh, have I now?
Okay. You've told us plenty. And you guys are on like after football, so clearly that must feel good. No,
It's
seriously.
the best night of television.
Yeah.
You have this massive lead-in, so it just must be must feel good that clearly the network is into. I mean,
That's my night of TV. I mean,
Right?
I watch
Yeah.
football and then
Yeah,
watch
me
the
too.
show. Even if I wasn't in the show, and that would be because by that time I'm sufficiently imbibed and I'm ready to go. And I'm hyped up for football. and
you're
I'm going to
saying
space.
people should watch the show drunk. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Is that what you just?
I think that's what
It
I
never
said.
hurts
watch
to
it
do,
any which
to do
way.
anything with a little alcohol in it.
You know, exactly.
Listen, truer words have never been spoken. The Orville premieres Sunday, September 10th on 8. So excited for the show. Thank you guys so
Thank
much